Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo meeting of the Clayton City Council. We are meeting live via Zoom, and so those who wish to make public comment will be in the queue as attendees until that time comes, and then we will call on you and unmute your mic for the period of 3 minutes, which will be timed. At the end of the 3 minutes, your time will be closed and your microphone will be muted. There were several people who sent in public comments via email. We will get to those when we get to public comment. But let me proceed with formally calling the meeting to order and indicate for the record that all council members are present. In addition, we have our city manager, our city attorney, our planning director, and our finance manager with us this evening. And our police chief, as important as anyone, are all with us this evening. The first item on our agenda is the consent calendar. Is there any member of the council who wishes to pull any item or for separate discussion or correction, or is there a motion?
I'll move approval, Jim Diaz.
Okay, second that.
Okay, a motion by Diaz, a second by Wolf. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oops, we have to do a roll call vote. Sorry. Janet?
Sure. Roll call. Councilmember Catalano?
Aye.
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Wolf?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Juan?
Aye.
And Mayor Peard?
Yes.
Thank you.
We have no recognitions or presentations this evening. We will then go to reports. We have a report from the Planning Commission. I believe Vice Chair AJ Shapiro is with us somewhere. Is he out there in the attendee group?
I don't see him.
I don't see him. I don't see him. If he joins us in a little bit, we'll get back to him. Or we could ask Matthew to give us a report on their meeting last week. Can you do that for us, Matthew?
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Mayor and City Council. So the Planning Commission did hold a meeting last week. It was very quick. Approval of the minutes, a quick introduction of myself to the Planning Commissioners, fielded one question from audience members besides the City Manager. And other than that, it was a very quick meeting and no agenda items to report to. Thank you.
Very good. Any questions of Matthew about the Planning Commission meeting? Okay, very good. There was no meeting of the Trails and Landscape Committee, although I understand there is one being planned. We go next to City Manager and staff reports. Connie, anything?
You're on mute, sir.
Thanks, Mayor. Nothing from me, but I have my team here with me that have some information for the community. Would you like to?
Sure.
Okay. Chief, why don't we have you go first? We have our police chief, Chief Warren, here with us. She has some updates from last month. And then we'll go to Matthew, and then we'll go to Paul Rodriguez.
Hi, good evening. Some summary and highlights from April. Officers made 2 arrests. Both were for misdemeanor traffic offenses. There were 10 reported thefts in the city. 2 were shoplifting and 8 were theft from vehicles. Those all are from unlocked vehicles. So a reminder for those that are listening, please lock your vehicles and take your valuables out. That continues to be a problem. Officers wrote 33 reports. Our calls for service are down from February and March, which is good. It means people are staying home. No accidents, probably another result of people not driving as much. An update on Regency Drive. So for the month of April, we had 77 citations, which was up significantly from March, which had 46. So since the shelter in place went into effect and prior to the last council meeting where further restrictions were imposed, we were seeing a steady increase every weekend in tickets. Since the last council meeting and the new restrictions, we're seeing a steady decrease in tickets. So the weekend prior to the new restrictions, which was April 18th, 19th weekend, we had 33 tickets. The weekend of April 23rd through 26th, we had 20 tickets. This last 7-day period, we've had 7 tickets, so a 65% decrease. So the new restrictions have really worked, and I've spoken to some of the residents, and they're very happy with how things are going on Regency Drive now. There have been some impacts on Monterey Parkway, but nothing that's been significant, and we're hoping for the best to continue with the way it's going. Just a quick summary of the calls that we're getting regarding violations of the health order. For the month of April, we had 27 calls, people calling in, reporting violations of the health order. The vast majority were reporting people that were gathering and loitering and not following social distancing guidelines. We get a lot of calls on Key Lock, Regency, neighbors reporting each other for hosting parties in their front yards, reports of problems at Clayton Station and downtown. But every time officers have responded and provided education to people, everybody has been cooperative and pleasant. So we have not seen really any problems after speaking to people. And that's it.
Great. Thank you, Chief. Any questions of the Chief? That's great.
I want to thank the chief and Connie for sending out that chart that gave a pictorial on the summary of the various types of incidences that are encountered by the police. And by the way, I'm assuming because of reporting requirements up the line that's a regular report, but that's the first time that I've ever seen one sent out to the city council, and I thought it was an excellent way to summarize for us what's going on in the city.
Good.
And also to amplify, I too, and I know everybody else have received some feedback from the Regency residents on the positive nature of the new signing ordinance.
Including a request that it become permanent. So that's a discussion we'll have later on. Anything? Okay. Hey, Connie?
Yes. Next, we have our Community Development Director, Matthew Fesky.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, Madam Mayor, and City Council. Just a quick update. Contra Costa County Building Department, they have eased up their restrictions. They are issuing building permits. They are in the process of implementing their electronic submittal service. Their offices are not open to the public, but they are taking all applications for building permits and plan checks via electronic services now. They are also reactivating some of the permits that they had put on hold. So that will be a great relief to some of the local construction folks around here. The other report is no response or answer from the county as far as the CMEX application and the EIR process. I will continue to be the squeaky wheel for them. And then lastly, just a quick update on the local hazard mitigation plan. I've been working with our city engineer to make sure that we are utilizing our grant and that we have that document prepared in a timely fashion. It's important so that we can get full reimbursement potentially from FEMA if a natural disaster happens. And that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthew.
Thanks, Matthew. All right, and last but not least, we have our Finance Director, Paul Rodriguez, with a brief update.
Again, Honorable Mayor and council members, I want again to provide you with a brief update as to what I've been doing with regards to the upcoming 2021 fiscal year budget since my last report in April. Since my last report, I've examined the 9 general fund departments and the CIP fund, reconciling the general fund and the CIP fund to their audited fund balances as of June 30th, 2019, and entered expenditures for each department and CIP project through the end of February in order to better assist the other departments in projecting their 1920 estimated actuals and their upcoming 2021 proposed budgeted expenditures. Currently, as of this afternoon, I've been inputting the proposed salaries and benefits into the 2021 proposed budget and reconciling those to the totals from the salaries. In other words, reconciling the totals per the budget to the totals per the spreadsheet. Just one thing would really want to say, Kevin did a fantastic job, and it's really nice to follow somebody who left such a clean set of books. That being said, you still have to tweak things and do things your way, and it probably take a little bit of time reconciling these to make sure that all the numbers are input and nothing's left out. And it's just kind of a learning process at this point. So after I finish that, I'm going to be continuing to project the general fund revenues. I briefly started with that, but we'll probably work through the weekend on getting that out. And at that point, the city manager and I will be working with the various departments, assisting them in gathering information from them in order to complete their proposed budgets. Been working closely with the city manager. I believe I can say this with confidence that we remain pretty confident that staff will provide a proposed budget for review and approval in a timely fashion for you folks and the public, of course. Again, to date, and as I mentioned, Kevin left a great clean set of books, and Deborah Allen, the interim, did a fine job in closing June 30, 2019. And I haven't seen anything. There's no red flags. Nothing in my examination of the year-to-date revenues and expenditures through April 30th, because I'm coming in and taking a look at everything. Everything's coming in as projected. There's no, as I said, big red flags or anything. Everything is going according to the budget, and I look forward to, again, Connie and I providing a balanced budget for you folks here in fairly short order. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Paul, do we have any indication yet on the impact to sales tax? I realize that's our third level of funding, but I know a lot of other agencies are very, very worried about the sales tax revenue. It's off so dramatically. It certainly will impact our streets and roads fund dollars from Measure J, and we can cope with that, but I didn't know how the general fund will be impacted by the sales tax. Maybe it'll go up because Safeway's selling so much stuff that's taxable. Who knows?
So a couple things in regard to that, Honorable Mayor. Number one, as you mentioned, sales tax is a pretty percentage-wise small amount percentage-wise of our general fund revenues. That being said, I have reached out to colleagues of mine, and as I think I mentioned at the last meeting, I have attended a webinar put on by the League of California Cities. We sit in a really good position compared to most cities in that we're not really dependent on our sales tax. And I've also reached out to HDL Corn and Cone. They're a sales tax and property tax consultant that I've worked with in the past for both the cities of Eureka and Fortuna, as well as the special district I worked at previously. And they have given me an update as to where Clayton stands sales tax wise right now, but and we still look good. They're still ascertaining how this is going to impact us. I don't have a concrete number yet for you, but again, given that it's not a minor amount, but it's a smaller amount of our revenues, I don't foresee it having a significant impact on our budget. It'll have an impact for sure, but that may be may be in that we defer a project for a year, and there's nothing that's going to be crippling to Clayton with regards to our sales tax and Measure J tax. And I believe, as I mentioned at the last meeting, the gas taxes, which are not a general fund revenue and really are more project in streets and roads repairs oriented, those are going to take a hit as well. And I've made some adjustments. I read, they say that with regards to travel, it's dropped off 38%. During this time, so I made adjustments in that, and that's how I will, in talking to HDL, in trying to look at our projections. I'm going to be conservative in my approach at forecasting these. So.
Very good, thank you. That's helpful to know. Now, as long as nobody reassesses our property, we're in good shape, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other reports, Connie?
No, that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Then we'll go to City Council reports, and we will start with Jim.
I think he's frozen, Mayor.
Uh-oh. I don't see him. Okay, we'll go to CW then.
I think Jim might have a permanent headache there or something. But anyway.
Oh, it went dark.
I spent the weekend. I drove up to Regency, took a look at that, and I'm very pleased with the way things were going up there. And saw one of the citizens talked about it up there, and they seem to be doing much better, which is great. And I can't wait to get into the results of that whole program going forward. And then spent a great deal of time on emails and telephone calls this week, surprisingly. And we'll talk about some of that in just a little while. And took in the Senator Glazer COVID-19 update. And tomorrow I will sit in on the White House briefing tomorrow morning. That's all for me.
Okay. Tuya?
No official committee reports.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, I think many of you, I did a lot of emailing this week with, or this past 2 weeks with constituents. Still stuck at home, as we all are, so it's great. I did enjoy a few of those neighborhood get-togethers where we all stood on our driveways and looked at each other awkwardly while our police officers drove by and waved. So that was great. So I think they're doing it right now. Cinco de Mayo. I'm missing out a little bit. But, I like some of the others. I did receive a number of communication about Regency, the relative improvements. So that's great. I did also receive quite a bit from folks over on the other side of Mount Pear. And, they were wondering why we didn't move in that direction. And so I kind of explained the rationale that we took. I did suggest, though, that those interested could refer back to the path that Regency took, and they asked what steps they can do, and so I did kind of relay what we'd done in the past and what other residents have done, and so if folks are interested, I would say we will likely establish some kind of criteria at the end of the pilot program, and that's what I told them. However, in the interim, if they are interested, I would encourage folks to organize and and speak about what they want. So other than that, there was also a number of things related to the shelter-in-place order. Obviously, we are fortunate that for us it's primarily inconvenience, but for I think a lot of our residents, it's more than just inconvenient. It's impacting their livelihood and probably quality of life overall. And so, I know that there's going to be communication. I believe it's scheduled for Thursday to kind of detail out what the plan is for Friday. So I'm interested in knowing that. Hopefully it's more permissive than it is now. And if it's not, then I would, I think that we need to start, at least in the back of our mind, consider whether whether we agree with some of the guidance. So I don't think we're there yet, but maybe in the future we'll see. And the other stuff we'll probably get to at some of the agenda items, so I'll leave it for there.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I was back to practically a full schedule of meetings, almost all of them on Zoom, a couple of them on different social media platforms, but had a meeting of the Metropolitan Transportation Commission Governance Committee to talk about how we can be more efficient in operating the Association of Bay Area Governments and MTC together. And we basically decided to merge as many of our operational committees that have similar agendas as possible to do joint meetings so that we're all hearing the same presentations and having one discussion instead of many. Had an ABAG executive board meeting and a finance committee meeting, had CCTA meetings as well. Like the rest of you, I received several emails from the Regency folks. One in particular saying it was like going back several years to when they bought their place, and it was very nice and peaceful, and they'd like us to make that a year-round hour, so we'll have to see where that goes. I also heard from a few other folks over in Dana Hills, not on the end of Mount Air Parkway so much, but in other parts of Dana Hills that have access to the trail up to the park, because their open space network does connect with the trail to the Regency Gate. So that was interesting to actually witness a couple of times when I was over that way. Stopped in for a couple of Senator Glazer's podcasts and broadcasts that he has done, and listened into most of the governor's daily broadcasts at noon, just to kind of keep up with what changes he's making to where we are. And like Jeff, I will be interested to hear what he has to say on Thursday and again on Friday. I'm encouraged that we're opening up some. I'm leery of going too fast. Don't want to lose too much ground, but we'll see where we wind up. So that's it for me. So we will now go to public comment, and this is an opportunity for our members of the public to comment on.
Jim is back on.
CW?
Sorry, Jim is back.
Oh, Jim is back. I didn't see him pop up. There he is. You got to unmute yourself, Jim.
I will. Just
there you
a
go.
Second here.
You're unmuted.
No, I don't know what problem I'm having, but it's fading in and out, the service. So I was gone when you called me, and I had a question for Paul. So let me back up. First of all, with all of the things that the finance manager is doing, Paul, what's the status, or you have it on your future to-do list, the 5-year plan, financial?
It's certainly on my to-do list. Of course, got to get this year's, but I mean,
no, I understand that. I just want to make sure that you haven't lost sight of it.
Oh, okay. Absolutely not. And we'll, of course, look forward to more specific guidance from the city manager and the council when it comes time to doing that. But it's certainly, I saw it was number 1 or 2 on the list of goals and objectives for this upcoming year. So I'm very aware of that. Yeah.
Okay. And back to my report, I have been talking with a number of people, Regency as well, and I don't need to reiterate that, who are very pleased with what's going on. Also, have been that other segment of our population that are pleased that at least through whatever powers it be, that the golf course is allowing members to play golf up there again. That's it.
Yes, that was part of the governor's order and part of the 6 counties order as well. So we're all relieved that that's open again. Okay.
Excuse me. I just have one quick question of Ikani, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I got a communication from a citizen asking about the paving schedule, repair schedule of roads in Clayton. and specific to different neighborhoods. But what's happening with the paving schedule, the repair schedule?
Thanks, CW. That's a great question. In the city of Clayton, every 2 years, typically on even years, 2020 being one of them, we accrue funds in the gas tax and road funds, which typically both RMRA and HUDA funds equates to about $500,000 a year. That's pre-pandemic. So we replenish that. We wait for 2 years, and we have project coming. Typically, we'll get to a road every 20 years. Last time I asked our engineer, he says it's about 20 years since. So if there's somebody out there who's waiting for the road to be done, we'll try to get it to us as soon as possible. But on May 19th, or the first city council meeting in June, we propose to bring to you and city council for your discussion and consideration our way ahead for a repavement and road project time schedule, that we're going to look for your direction and guidance on that. So we have a few options and alternatives that we will present to you at next city council meeting. So in a few weeks, you'll see that presented in front of you all soon.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions of staff? If not, we will go to the public comment period. This is a time for members of the public to comment on any item not on tonight's agenda. If there's anyone tuned in that would like to comment, you need to raise your hand and we will call on you. And so far, I do not see any raised hands. We have 6 members of the public in our audience. I don't see any raised hands. Do you, Ikani?
I don't, Mayor.
Okay, then we will close the public comment period and we will go to our action items, which is our next item. And this is item 8A, which is a continuation of the local emergency declaration regarding the coronavirus indefinitely. And Ikani, you have a report on this.
Yes, real brief report. Mayor, City Council, this is just a continuation of the local emergency declaration regarding COVID-19. This is really just, we're continuing this to an unspecified date. And as we've seen earlier this week, the governor, it appears that we have done great to flatten the curve, not only in the region and the county, but throughout the state. And so we are easing restrictions throughout the upcoming weeks. The current shelter-in-place order that we have right now goes from May 4th to May 31st, and we are already seeing additional restrictions eased from that. In this current order right now, what we have on easing is construction is allowed in the city of Clayton, and this is really, they took out the restrictions of construction. There does have to be proper social distancing in place, and face coverings, and making sure that we continue to maintain proper social distance and maintain safety. But we have construction that is eased off, and then also we have certain recreational activities that doesn't require the sharing of equipment, such as golf and tennis. And so we have other industries. Later this week, the governor will make other industries available and ease restrictions on those industries as well. And so we continue to we continue to flatten this curve, and we continue to ease into other industries. And so I wouldn't be surprised by June we'll move from stage 2, maybe stage 3. So all this depends on how we continue to do and what the data. So one data that there's several key indicators, Mayor, that are out there that the state and the county are looking at. And one of the indicators is the ability to administer 2,200 tests daily in the county. to just build a picture of where we're at right now. As of a few days ago, we were at 300 tests a day. And so they're looking at 2,200 tests daily. And so we're getting there, but we're not quite there yet. But I think before we get there, we'll continue to see ease of industries when we get there. So, Mayor, that is my report for the continuation of the declaration.
Okay. Any questions of Connie on this item? Yeah, CW.
A couple of things. Things are changing faster than we can keep up with them. And I understand on Thursday there's going to be another update, and that things don't look good for Contra Costa County with regard to how they're going to react to the stuff the state is doing. So the question I have is, are we incumbent on following the state guideline, or are we looking at the county guideline? How does that all work?
Great question. So we are under the county guidelines. So the state will make they will open up certain industries, but it really comes down to what our county health officer says. And so we wait for that press release, and we wait for what Contra Costa County health officer says. And so even if the governor allowed things to be open, we really have to wait for Contra Costa County to make a decision on that.
Yeah, it sounds very confusing to people. I know we don't have a flower shop, for instance, in Clayton, but if we did, that would be one of those things where people are not really sure as to what's going to happen on Thursday or Friday or whatever. People are gearing up, maybe buying some stock or whatever. And so I think we need to somehow make it clear that, we're following whatever guidelines we have to follow based on the county, and that's what really they should be listening to.
Exactly.
Because I listen to the governor every day at noon. What else do I have to do? And it can be very confusing. He even says at times, "I know I'm confusing you." Well, that's certainly happening. And so I don't know how we can make it clear to people that it's the county that we're going to be listening to.
CW, case in point, not trying to confuse anybody, but the state health officer, they have closed state golf courses and do not allow golfing. But in the county, we are allowing golfing as of Monday. So we took that stance in the county in the Bay Area, but in the state, on the state golf courses, they have not allowed that. So there's a difference on local government, local county government there with the state.
Thank you.
Is that at our discretion? Like if we're following county but not state. I mean, I know in the beginning the idea was we would follow whatever was more strict. Now it doesn't seem that way. So is that a choice that we are allowed, or that we are allowed to make, or that we are choosing to make, or is that where does that come from, I guess?
Mala, I think, wants to weigh in.
Yeah, if I could jump in, the governor's executive order made it pretty clear from yesterday that the stricter shelter-in-place order is what's going to apply. So to the extent that the counties, the 6-county Bay Area shelter-in-place order is more stringent, that is going to apply in our scenario. So that's why your city manager has indicated that we should be really looking at the county's shelter-in-place order, because it is more stringent than I think what the state is looking to do in the near future.
Except for golf, though. For golf, the county is less strict, right? So
no,
it seems inconsistent. Right?
Not on hacky sack.
I believe the city manager was just referencing the state-owned golf courses as opposed to private golf course facilities.
Okay, did I hear that wrong? I didn't. Okay.
That's correct.
All right. And we don't really have discretion there, like our one-person dog groomer that's here in town because they don't have veterinary services, they're forced to be closed. That seems kind of like the fact pattern is somewhat uncommon. So I don't know if we have is there any discretion for things like that where we just say, that's probably okay?
Jeff, just one comment I want to make is there's 7 agencies involved. There's 6 counties and 1 city that are coming together in the Bay Area. And they are meeting, and I'm not in those meetings. None of the city managers are in those meetings, but these are county health officials that are on these Zoom meetings, and they're making these decisions. And it is a tough call, and our businesses are feeling it. But we have all decided together, not only as a county but as a city, it's just clear for everyone and easier for everyone and cleaner for everyone if we just all stick through this together. We're almost out of there, Jeff, and we feel the pain of that one business, and we are hoping that soon we'll see some relief and reprieve for those small businesses because they're suffering the most. But that's really the take, is we're just trying to do this together. We have to do this together, and there will be some suffering, some business suffering, but that's really what this is it's just what's best for that area and the region in the Bay Area, and that's the take that happens. And we're taking.
No, I understand that. Yeah, I understand that. I guess that's not really. That makes perfect sense. I don't think that's really responsive to my question, though. My question was, do we have discretion? The response is, well, we are choosing to do this. So I just want to make sure I interpret that correctly. If we say, the dog groomer is okay, is the county going to send their enforcement agencies and supersede the authority of the city, or how does that work?
I think that probably, I don't know that they would come and supersede the authority, but I think they would have the ability to, because the county has a health department. We don't have a health department. The one city that the city manager referenced that is also matching the county's orders is the city of Berkeley. They have their own health department. So my concern is that if we tried to do something that we didn't have the powers to do, the county could come in and say, you're not complying with our county ordinance, which is in effect, or county order, excuse me. So I think that's what you're really asking is, do we have the authority to supersede the county shelter-in-place orders or parts thereof?
Yeah, I mean, there were some counties that prior to the governor's announcement that decided they decided to go their own way. I think there's a couple counties up north, and and there's probably a couple of locations down south. So, I'm just curious if how that is related.
Those counties have health departments, and so they do have certain provisions under the statutes to do those. But even those counties that are, I think, taking positions contrary to the state's orders that are less restrictive could face challenges from the state itself. I think you've probably seen that there's been some discussions of if the governor would challenge some of those counties, and you saw the governor try to shut down certain beaches down in Southern California. So there has been a little bit of a battle between even the counties and the state in terms of making sure the more stringent order is in place.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion on this?
Oh, I actually had one other line of question. So when we first did the emergency, or what are we calling it, the declaration of local emergency, there were two actions that we took that night. One was the declaration, and two was a granting of certain powers in connection with the emergency declaration for as long as that was. So I presume that because this item extends the local declaration of emergency indefinitely, it also extends those other items that were granted in the other order. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes.
Correct.
So the reason, I could be getting some of the details wrong, but the kind of the onus for us doing the second, not this one makes sense, but the reason for us doing the other one was because we were uncertain as to our ability to get together, form a quorum, and we weren't sure how it was all going to work out. And so we wanted to make sure that the city could operate, as it is supposed to, smoothly, and we wouldn't be a bottleneck for our normal operations. I would say I'm curious what specific things that granted that we are utilizing, because we've had our regular meetings. It seems like we're able to gather. So I believe that those controls or those processes were put in place for a reason, and it makes sense if we're uncertain how the city would function. But now that I think we have a pretty good handle on the cadence of our meetings, do we need to continue the other, I don't know what to call it, the other order granting those powers? Like, could you delineate like what those things are that you are doing differently now that we did not do in the past?
Yeah, Jeff, great question. The main reason what we wanted to do, and we really never needed to utilize it, but it's good to have. What I would say is it's good to have in place. But since that meeting, we continued to meet over Zoom, and we continued to approve the obligations through consent. So that's really one of the main reasons why I needed that latitude to do that. But we never needed to go there because we continue to fight through this and do virtual meetings. So what I would say, my suggestion would be is it doesn't hurt to have that just in case we needed it, because who knows, it might come back and things might happen. But if you wanted to take it off as well and modify, that's fine too. But even though we said we needed that latitude, we haven't actually used it. So everything has remained the same, and we continued to go through these meetings with nothing changing in our process.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I would just ask, as a request that during our regular meetings, if there is an instance where when anyone has to exercise, this ability that we do the report out at the following meeting, I think that'll be good. Just in the interest of disclosure, that's fine with me.
That's great.
And I think to add on to that a little bit, I think one of the things we discussed when we provided the additional authority is that if, for example, any financial obligations are paid at the city manager's discretion, that there's a report to us, and we obviously haven't seen any of those reports. So as Connie said, I think those powers just have not been used. But I do think that it would be good to have them in place because things are pretty fluid and things are changing at the county and state level. So I don't think there's any harm in having them in place and, for the time being.
Jim, did you have a question?
Cool. Yeah, I just want to chime in and support what Jeff had said, because I believe that we need to get an updated report regularly on that. And right now, as Connie has said, he's not had to exercise any of those powers. But I certainly would like to know if he had to do it or is considering it. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments on this item or a motion? Do we have anyone? Hold on one second. Let me see. I don't see any hands raised in the audience to comment. So, okay, who moved it?
I'll
move it.
Vice Mayor did.
Was that CW moving?
Yeah, I'll second. Vice Mayor.
Jeff moved it and CW seconded. All right, in that case, all in favor, Janet, please call the roll.
I apologize. I have her. She's on the phone. Hey, Janet, you're.
Hi. Councilmember Catalano?
Aye.
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Wolf?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Juan?
Aye.
And Mayor Pierce?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item of business is action item 8B, and that is to discuss and consider the LGBT Pride Month proclamation in the city of Clayton. And we have a report from the subcommittee, council members Catalano and Wolf.
We do. We do. Are we reading the proclamation now? We've come up with the proclamation, although I think we want to change a little bit of the language there. But I think that's what we were charged to do. Other than that, I have another report to you. Maybe you do.
Yeah, CW and I worked together to put this together, and what you see in the staff report is very similar to what other cities have done. So we did not reinvent the wheel. We combined some stuff from a few other proclamations, but it's fairly consistent what has been used for a number of cities. So happy to revise some of the language if needed. And I think we do want to make one revision to the LGBT abbreviation. But other than that, happy to answer any questions.
Yeah,
Do you want to tell us where those revisions would be?
But just given the resolution language, trying to bring it more consistent LGBTQ plus in the, let's see, it's the third whereas.
Okay.
It says LGBT, and the resolution says LGBTQ plus, and so we'd like to bring that language into the proclamation to make it more consistent.
Okay.
We also had a question about questioning. I don't know if that's appropriate to bring up now, but questioning is an appropriate use of the Q in LGBTQ. In fact, it's becoming the preferred method now,
Yes.
preferred use now. And so I think questioning in our proclamation is a correct use.
Okay. Very good. Any questions, comments? Jim?
No.
No?
No, I'm looking to go. I'm trying to find the microphone switch.
Oh, you got the mic up there. Now you're off.
Okay. Do you want to be on or
Switch.
off? Because you keep going back and forth.
I'm testing you all.
Okay.
We're supposed to be reading your palm.
Yeah. Okay.
So for this item, we have two separate items, right?
Right.
It's this item, which is the proclamation, and the second item, which is the flag.
Correct.
The language of the proclamation contemplates the flag as well. Does there need to be a separation there or no?
It does contemplate that. Its final whereas is to fly the flag at City Hall and city-owned and maintained flagpoles throughout the month of June. So that's
I guess the last sentence. Yeah, the last sentence begs the question of the next item. That's all, just from a procedural point of view.
But I think we already took a vote last month to fly the flag. So this was just coming up with the actual proclamation and language that is consistent with what we already decided last month.
We could take them in reverse order if you prefer, but I mean,
you could also take them together if you would like.
How is that? How does that work?
Oh, you could take, hear the second staff report as well and take both public comment for both items together if you wanted to. Alternatively, you can just go forward as is.
Who makes that decision?
You all as the council get to make that decision. If not, you would just continue as is on the agenda as hearing them as separate items.
Right. What is the pleasure of the council? Do you want to look at the resolution first?
I'm fine with
Yeah,
it.
fine. I just read it and it just, it stood out to me, but it's not, it's not a big thing.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is from the subcommittee, the suggestion, and I'm not hearing anyone say anything different, to make the resolution and the proclamation in sync as far as the language is concerned, using the term LGBTQ plus and changing the Q to questioning throughout. Is that correct? Including in the title of the resolution? Is that right?
Yes.
I'm looking for nodding heads or some.
I can defer to Tuya. Tuya is saying yes. I would say yes as well.
Okay. And to make the proclamation consistent with that as well, because there is variance between the two.
Right.
Okay. So Janet got that direction, and we'll make those corrections, and maybe you guys can send her a marked up copy of where we need to make those changes to get it consistent with both of them. I would note for the record that we have received some public comment through emails today. I don't have any raised hands in the audience. If someone in the audience wishes to comment on this item, please raise your hand and we will go to public comment in just a second. Janet, would you refer to the items? We got several of the emails were rather long. I don't know if they fit the 3-minute time limit or not, but if you talk fast, maybe they would.
Okay. So I can read each one at a time. So I will start.
You know what? Just read them. Well, yeah, they're not that long. Just read them. Incomplete. I mean, the whole email, please.
Okay. So actually there was one other public comment item that we received, which actually refers to the month of June. It's not in reference to the Pride Month, but I can read that comment first.
Sure.
That came from Fred Flood III, and I will start the timer now at 3 minutes.
Just read his too. Dan, okay. Just read his too, please, all the way through.
Okay, the city of Clayton, along with the rest of the world, has been suffering from the worst pandemic in over 100 years, and hopefully we'll be coming out of it soon. The health and safety of the Clayton citizens should be the #1 priority for the city council. I think the city should be acknowledging and showing its appreciation to Clayton's essential workers in June. Our first responders, our doctors, our nurses, other hospital workers, our EMTs, our scientists, our law enforcement officers, our firefighters, and many others on the front line supporting the health of our community and who have devoted their time, their resources, and risked their lives in the ongoing fight to defeat COVID-19 deserve our gratitude and recognition. As you may or not be aware, June is National Safety Month. It was established by the Congressionally Chartered National Safety Council in 1996 to increase awareness of major health and safety risks. It has been celebrated every June for the last 23 years. During these unprecedented times, which are affecting the Clayton residents to varying degrees, and due to the importance of health of Clayton citizens, I believe that it is imperative that the City Council or City of Clayton celebrate National Safety Month and thank and recognize its essential workers. That is the least the city can do for them. And that concludes Mr. Flood's comment. I will go on to...
Janet, would you please put Fred Flood's comment under public comment at the beginning of the meeting, because it really doesn't have anything to do with this agenda item.
Okay. Sure, okay. I will do that.
And I do see 2 hands raised in the audience. We'll get to you as soon as we finish reading the emailed comments.
Okay. The next one I will read came from Connie Horton, and I will start at her first comment without a timer. And this is on, it was actually directed to Vice Mayor Juan. Dear Jeff, it's Dane and Connie Horton here from 100 Forest Hill Drive. We met you once at our home and voted for you and hope that you will convey our feelings about the proposed rainbow flag to the rest of the council members tonight. We ask that the council members consider very, very carefully the negative unintended consequences of flying 3 rainbow flags in our city. It is very important to think through what this action will accomplish. Instead of bringing unity, it will cause further division or even confusion and division where there was none before. We strongly object to flying any flag except for the state of California and the American flag. If the council members choose to take the step and start flying rainbow flags, ask yourselves, where will it end? We strongly suggest putting your efforts into finding solutions for the problems in Clayton that are real, not imagined. For example, the failing pavement, cracks in the roads with weeds, choking out vegetation throughout the city, trees that are improperly pruned and dying of disease that are left untreated, and many other issues that are not just in someone's imagination. Please spend your time focused on these problems. The addition of rainbow flags does nothing but divert energy and resources away from problems most citizens of Clayton care about. And on this one, I'm not sure if you want me to read Vice Mayor's response to that.
That's up to the Vice Mayor.
Vice Mayor, would you like me to read your response? Okay.
Do you want me to read it, or do you want to read it? Or is this like story time?
The question is,
Well, if you want,
Paul is.
Well, I mean,
relaxed.
I think given that there's a follow-up that is also going more likely than not going to be read, it doesn't. It kind of makes sense to read it in context, so it's fine with me. I mean, I was actually going to read it during my portion, but you're welcome to do it. Then I don't have to.
Okay, that's what I'm here for. All right, so your response was, "Hi, Dean and Connie. I remember speaking with you on your front lawn, and I appreciate your continued support. I recognize that once we expand the scope of flags raised beyond the U.S. flag and California flag, it raises the question of which gets the nod and which does not. An easier solution would be to restrict the flying of just those two. To be clear, there is no cost to the city to raise these flags. They will be donated, and the level of effort is quite small. Ultimately, I think raising the flag costs nothing and hurts no one. It also has the potential to send a positive signal to members of our community. I don't believe that raising awareness of any particular matter lessens any other. It's not a zero-sum game. I certainly think there are other issues where the city could use its voice to raise awareness in addition to this one." And then there was another response from Connie Horton, and her response was, "You are clearly illustrating my point, Jeff, that when you give the nod to one group by necessity, you are saying no to another group. Just by the fact that you decide who gets to fly the flag and who doesn't means that you are already elevating one group above another who will not be represented. This is why I'm asking you to think things through. Please spend some time and see how this will play out. It will not turn out well at all. No one wants to see Clayton on the nightly news. Again, I urge you to stop this before it starts. In addition, there are no material facts supporting this imaginary problem that you would now be creating. You cannot fly a flag for every time someone's feelings get hurt. You're heading down a very slippery slope, and many people will not appreciate at all. Please don't buckle under to the vocal minority. Stick to the USA flag and the California flag. Those flags include every race, ethnicity, minority, and every person, excluding no one. You are very wrong in thinking there is no cost to this action you're considering. To ignore what the majority of Clinton citizenry believe is appropriate for our city is very dispiriting and disheartening. You should not be buckling under the threat of political correctness. This attitude is ruining many cities in our state. We are not Berkeley or San Francisco. That is why many of us moved out of the way to Clayton. You seriously need to rethink your position." That is the end of Connie Horton. The next one I received was from Lisa Miller, and her statement is, "I strongly object to the city promoting any special interest symbol on public property and recommend that the city maintain their current statute by flying only the California state flag and American flag. Thank you for your time and consideration." And the last comment that I have received was from Mr. Glenn Miller, and this is in response for Connie Horton's email, and his statement states, "Jeff, I am opposed for a number of reasons, many which have already been outlined by Connie. For example, our streets here in Peacock Creek are falling apart. Why is the energy of the City Council not be pointed to address this rather than an outside interest group agenda? You also state rather smugly that ultimately I think the raising flag costs nothing and hurts no one. No cost. Who is paying for the flag and who is paying for the manpower to raise and lower flags? It costs someone. Who is it? Secondly, if you believe, as I do, that the teachings of the gospel are the only truth, then by raising of this flag, there's no question that by this action you are offending these truths. Am I hurt? Well, no, but ultimately the support of this agenda, especially in this manner, at least potentially, not only offends other citizens as it might be contrary to belief, but it conveys the message that you, the City Council, have now appointed yourselves the arbitrator of what is truth and who can or cannot be hurt. Why do you get to decide this, and why do you get to decide what is promoted or allowed? Whom gets to be hurt, and what is appropriate awareness to be raised? Or are you and the rest of the City Council telling you now you have this authority and that yours is the only voice or the group supporting this, or that particular voice or agenda is the only ones that are being heard and be promoted in this matter? If making the proclamation at a meeting that no one usually pays that much attention to makes you feel positive, then have at it. Spending our resources and shoving down our throats false truths does not make those respectfully disagree and share different truths, in my humble opinion, have the appearance of very positive steps. Rather, it seems the opposite. It is very nature divisive and arbitrary, as I'm certain that is the attention of this group seeks. Who knows, and what is next on yours or their agenda? Of course, I'm not surprised that it's come to this. As you may recall, it took me 3+ meetings to get you all to recognize Christmas and run the fountain for that period. And then it was only because it was a federal holiday, not that you thought that Christmas deserved an honor. I am disappointed that you do not recognize these points and that you're bowing specifically to an agenda and forcing it on all of your fellow citizens just because other places have done it, which seems to be the sole reason given in the staff report. I would have expected more. Because of these unique circumstances, I hear and request that this part of the correspondence be made part of public comments tonight, and respectfully, Glenn Miller. That is the entire public comment.
Thank you, Janet.
You're welcome.
We have public comment here with us, and let's hear from them next. First would be Kiku Johnson, followed by Cesar Zepeda. And I'm not going to keep you tight to the 3 minutes, but I would hope that you could try to abide by that as closely as possible.
Yes, definitely, Mayor Pierce. This is Kiku Johnson. I am Executive Director of the Rainbow Community Center of Contra Costa County. And I'm very pleased to be here this evening just to be able to hear that this proclamation was written and how well written it is. So I want to acknowledge a few things. I want to just offer some ideas here around the LGBTQ acronym. Actually, queer is embraced and questioning is not as embraced, just in terms of inclusivity. So I just want to offer that. A lot of the acronyms that we use, and I do write and publish across the country around these topics, that we're really looking at LGBTQI+. I, again, is an offering around intersex, which a lot of times is confused with being transgender, but it is its own separate identity, and it can be coupled with other identities. So I want to offer that piece. Also, I wanted to acknowledge the fourth whereas listed in the proclamation here and how strongly it's written, and appreciate that it really does acknowledge that there have been advancements and that we still are seeking equitable treatment. One piece I want to also offer here is that in the fourth and the sixth whereas, when listing identities like lesbian, gay, men, bisexual, transgender, I see that it's inconsistent, and it would just be an offer to make sure to add people or persons consistently throughout and not add a gender identity with a sexual identity, because it can be very different for different folks. And I also want to just share a lot of gratitude because I'm very aware that this is possibly the first flag raising for the Rainbow Pride flag for the city of Clayton. And I acknowledge that took a lot of history and work and visibility and representation for folks. I just want to acknowledge that. And I did listen to the comments that were shared, and just want to underscore that visibility and representation is even more paramount in this time, especially when Pride celebrations have mostly been canceled across not only the Bay Area, but the country. And when I think about young people, middle-aged people, older folks as well, when you have been sheltered in place and you're looking at the time of recognition and acknowledgement in a month of June, traditionally Pride Month, and those events have been canceled, how powerful, even more so, having a flag flown, imagining young people in a car or older folks in a car being able to be acknowledged and seen, and to see a symbol that represents inclusivity is really important. So thank you for that consideration. And I just, as a last statement, I appreciate that there's a space to acknowledge all people. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Kiku, would you send us by email your contact information, please?
100%.
And that way the subcommittee can chat with you to get the language the way that it works the best.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. You can ask that too. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, our next speaker is Cesar Zepeda, and followed by Dee Vera. I don't have anyone else in the queue at this time, so if there's anyone else that wishes to speak under public comment, please raise your hand. Cesar?
Council members, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Good evening, council members and mayor and staff. Thank you so much for having this on your agenda again today. I spoke at the last agenda item asking you to raise the flag, so thank you for that again. A few notes that were made from some of the individuals that wrote in. One of them brought a point about doctors and nurses. I know it had nothing to do with this proclamation, but LGBTQI community, we are also doctors and nurses. We have given back to the country and we have given back to the world. An unknown hero or very less known hero out there is Alan Turing. He was a gay man and he is known as having saved the world in World War II, possibly saving over 3 to 4 million lives. And he is the one that broke the Enigma code that gave us the ability to defeat the Nazis. It was a gay man who probably have given the opportunity for a lot of us to live today. Another email said, where does this end? Well, thank you, council members, because I believe that this ends here. You have started the end of hate and have started to open hearts and minds and to be able to save lives. And when is the right thing, or when is the right time to do the right thing? It is always the right time to do the right thing. And if I can quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he said, never, never be afraid to do what's right, especially if the well-being of a person or animal is at stake. Society's punishment, which some of those emails tend to allude to, are small compared to the wounds we inflict on our soul when we look the other way. So thank you for not looking the other way. Thank you for standing up for the members of your community who believe they do not have a voice or they are too afraid to lift up their voice. 1 in 10, I'm sorry, I'm getting my numbers wrong. 1 in 10 LGBT, there's 1 in 10 LGBT members in our communities. So in a room of 10 people, you probably have one LGBTQI person who may or may not be out of the closet. So you figure out the population of your city, you do the math there, you have LGBTQI community there, but they might just be afraid to speak up, to write in and to raise their hand to say that I am here. So thank you for those that have stood up and have spoken up. And I just want to end with thank you for your courage and thank you for your love for your community. We look forward to working together. And also, I have purchased a few flags, so there will be no cost to the city. It will be a donation that will be coming in to the city from other citizens that believe in what you believe in. So you will be receiving a few new flags. We'll work with Dee Vieira, and she'll deliver those over to you, but there will be no cost in that. So thank you so much again for doing the right thing. And lastly, sorry, the Vice Mayor Juan, I love your T-shirt. The unicorn there. That's a great T-shirt. Yes. Very fitting for today. Thank you.
It's a unicorn riding a shark with a cat riding it.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you, Cesar, and thank you for the donation of the flags. We do appreciate that very much. And our last speaker is Dee Vieira.
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay. Good evening, City Council and staff. My name is Dee Vieira, and I live in Dana Hills and Clayton. I would like to use my time here to share the meaning of the pride flag. I found it worded nicely by John Bouters, a City Council member of Emeryville, who wrote a letter to the East Bay Times editor. I'm not going to read his entire letter. I just wanted to share the meaning of the flag because I think some people don't know what each stripe means. The meaning of the flag is as follows. Red stands for life. Our individual existence is both meaningful and valuable. Orange stands for healing. We restore one another through community. Yellow stands for sunshine. We should never hide our true selves in darkness. Green stands for nature. We share one world as our common home. Blue stands for harmony. We can coexist in peace with one another. Purple stands for spirit. We are defined by our unique selves. Together, the pride flag is a symbol of love, community, and inclusion. And I wanted to add, if it's possible, we could decide a day and time that you plan to raise the flag this evening. This is so that if we have any plans for the ceremony, we would have some time or window of time to set something up. And I don't know what that looks like yet because this is all new in the COVID era. But, you know, even if it means doing a drive-by while we're raising the flag, or, I don't know, social distancing with masks or something, we just got to get a little creative. And last, I just want to thank you guys. I'm really proud of you, and you're doing the right thing. You're standing up and embracing everybody and showing your love. So I really appreciate your taking the time to do all this. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dee. And that is something that I'll bring up here once we get done with this part of it. I think the imposition of this June 1st is a Monday, and it might be possible that we could do a small ceremony either at the library or City Hall or the Grove, one of those three locations, and just have representatives of the groups with social distancing, obviously. And so half a dozen people or so there, and try to keep it small, but let my council members think about that as we go forward here. Any further discussion? Jeff, you said you had some things you wanted to say, or was that just reading your letter?
Well, we're just on the proclamation piece now, or are we on the flag piece, or are we on both?
We're on both. They're
on both?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really connected, so okay, that's fine.
So Julie, before you close public comment, I think there's one phone caller. Do you need to open that line to see if they were speaking on this?
I did not see a hand raised there.
No, but I think the phone callers can't raise a hand. Right?
Yeah, I think they can. *9 is what they need. Isn't that right? *9? Isn't that what they need? Their hand?
*9 to the caller if they'd like to make a public comment.
Right. I don't see the phone call.
Nor do I.
I see it on the attendee list, but I don't see what you guys see.
Okay, I think they.
I do see a phone number that ends in 3475, but I don't see a hand raised.
Okay.
And it's not muted.
Here we go.
Oh, there they are. Would you please identify yourself?
Hi, my name is Daphne Valdez. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Associate Director of Programs and Trainings for the Rainbow Community Center. I'm a little late to this meeting, but I wanted to take this opportunity to share support for the LGBTQ community. I myself identify as bisexual. I grew up in Concord. I went to Woodside, Oak Grove, and Ignacio Valley High School. Extremely proud to be a part of Contra Costa County, and to know that this is a step forward in my 31 years living in Contra Costa County. Really the amazing opportunity to see some movement, understanding myself as a young LGBTQ person, knowing that representation is showing up and the community is showing up strong, and that we have allies. It really is an impact, and just know that this small thing, though it is also very large, young people are paying attention. You know, my children are paying attention. So extremely proud of this moment, and thank you.
Thank you, Daphne. And I do not see any other phone callers on our list either, so I believe that closes public comment on this item. So we'll bring it back to the council for decision on both the resolution and on the proclamation. Comments? Further comments? A motion?
Yeah, I did have a couple comments. Thank you, Janet, for reading the emails. Obviously, I think a lot. I was engaging with folks in town, and I don't think that I am entirely persuaded, but I do want to acknowledge that there were not only the ones that you read, but there was also other side conversations that didn't get submitted, I think, for public comment that I won't really share. But I will just say that a lot of the folks that felt strongly about this were residents in town. And most of the speakers that we had in the prior meeting and some of the ones we have in this one are not, that were in favor. And I do want to acknowledge that there are likely a non-insignificant number of people who would find us doing this unnecessary, or they'd be opposed for various reasons. And I think that that's a legitimate viewpoint, and so I just want to make sure that that is heard. If I had my druthers, I would say that we should, I've had conversations with folks saying, I don't want people to read meaning here where there isn't. And that kind of goes both ways. For some folks, they think that this is representative of something that they don't agree with. And for others, like some of the people who are in favor on the phone, they attribute, grand gestures. And I, in my view, that's not what this is. Like I said, I wrote that I see this as about the smallest of possible gestures that we could do. It's not difficult, and it's not a lot. It costs us nothing financially, and it is something that will divide people in the community, and so I just want to recognize that. But it is not like something that we're saying that we all agree on everything that there is that people attribute to this action. I'd be in support of using flags in general, at least, to raise awareness for a great many things. I think, someone mentioned, autism awareness, or Autism Awareness Month was, I think, in August. I know that someone mentioned that there's, each of the armed services has their commemoration day when the services started. And there's a number of other things that, to me, that's totally fine. Elevating or raising one does not push down any other. And it's like I wrote in the email, it's not a zero-sum game. I think that being inclusive really does mean being inclusive. And so I want to give voice to those people who may disagree. Yesterday was May the 4th. Star Wars flag would have been awesome. I don't think that we compare these things. I mean, the worst part is that we cannot open this up to the public. I just want to be really clear. Like, if I had my druthers, I would say, let's just do a poll, and any given month or week, whatever, if people are willing to donate the materials and that's fine. Let's go nuts and do them all. To me, if that's what people want, I wouldn't stand in the way. So, I think, obviously I got a lot of communication here, and I'll probably get more after this. I respectfully don't think that everyone will agree on everything, and that's okay. But I do think that, I am going to ask if other people are interested in raising awareness for other things. I'd be glad to bring it up. I know that the public can't bring it up directly. We can't have like a form or a policy or something like that, because Mala would get upset with me. But there's nothing stopping people from making suggestions, and other than some things that are that I have strong opposition to, I would raise the issue to us all, and I would ask that when we do that, we treat it the same way. It's okay to represent, to be inclusive for many things. So that's it.
CW.
Me?
Yeah, I thought you raised your
Okay,
hand.
I didn't hear the first part. So I too had sidebar conversations, quite a few this week. The majority of the things that were spoken about this week to me was about this issue. And I had 17 specific emails and phone calls about this issue alone this week. And of those, 15 were people from Clayton, and all very much wholeheartedly supporting this effort and praising us for standing up and things like that. I think now it's time to realize that Clayton is not an island and that we need to start with inclusivity instead of exclusivity. And I agree that we can take a look at other organizations and other things down the road, provided it's done properly. But I think at this time, with people that we have living in our community that need to feel as though they're part of the community, now is the time to do this and to fly the flag on the 3 poles that we've designated.
Okay, Tia?
Yeah, so as a general statement, so, as council members, we should be making decisions that are legally correct. We should also be making decisions that are fiscally in the best interest of the city, and sometimes even making decisions that are legally accurate and fiscally accurate are not popular decisions. This item is neither of those. There are no legality issues. There are no fiscal impacts. This is purely a policy decision, doing something that's right. I've seen the comments. I've heard some of the comments that were read in the record today. However, I would strongly encourage us to not make this into a bigger issue by expanding this to consideration of other flags. There's no need to do that. Instead, I would encourage all of us to have the courage to make a policy decision on this issue alone, even if few residents do not agree, without expanding it to something else. The flag certainly represents the LGBTQI plus community, but it also represents equality, inclusiveness, whether it's based on, and diversity, whether it's based on sexual orientation or gender, race, or any other characteristics. And it sends the message that everybody is welcome in Clayton. So I would ask my colleagues today to vote on this item on its own. I ask not to feel pressured to go down the road of considering other flags. I ask that we simply do the vote on this item today. And I would ask all of us to vote 100% on this item and not go halfway. Our job as a council members is not to always please everybody, but it is to do the right thing. And this is exactly one of those policy statements where we make a policy statement that we are an inclusive city. So I am fully supportive of the proclamation, the resolution, and flying the flag. And I would certainly be happy to see some ceremony as well. I don't know what that will look like given the COVID-19 restrictions, but I would be supportive of all that.
Thank you, Tia. Jim, any comments?
Well, I find this all very interesting today, Cinco de Mayo, and as the former chairman of the Hispanic Community Foundation, which, by the way, is still in existence today, I know that they haven't reached out to me yet, but I know that usually in the September-October timeframe is National Hispanic Month. So I don't know if they will, but it just struck me today that this is sort of interesting. Yet I hear some from one or two of my colleagues here that they don't think we ought to expand it beyond this. But yet there are other interested communities that are members of this community and have been for a number of years. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jim. For me, I am wholly in favor of this. Lots of friends in the Clayton community who are gay or one of the other acronyms, but and proudly so, but relatively quietly so. And I've heard from several of them over this past couple of weeks, and they are feeling supported and are appreciative of the effort that is being put forward. So I am wholly in favor. Can I get a motion on, Mala, we can combine these in one vote, can't we?
Yes, you can, unless there's a concern that some might vote for one and not the other, but you can combine them.
Okay, so somebody want to give me a motion, including the direction to the subcommittee to clean up some of the language and make it consistent on the two documents?
Can we
I'll
do
make
that
the
again
motion.
as part of the subcommittee?
Okay, I heard a
Is that
motion
okay?
from Tuya and a second from CW. Is that correct?
Oh, okay. I was just asking the question if it's okay, even though we're part of the subcommittee, to put in that language.
Absolutely,
Yes,
it is.
I will second that if that was the motion.
All right, I heard a motion from Tuya and a second from CW to approve these, and the subcommittee will work together with the representatives who have offered tonight to get the language consistent on the two documents. Okay, with that, Janet, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Councilmember Catalano?
Aye.
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Wolf?
Wholeheartedly, yes.
Vice Mayor Juan?
Oh, aye.
Thank you.
Mute.
Mayor Pierce?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that passed unanimously. Thank you all, and we will figure out and be able to announce no later than our next meeting what we might be able to do. Some of it's going to depend on where we are in the opening up of things, but if we plan something perhaps for the park, we should be able to keep distancing properly done, and I would think, but I will leave some planning of that to the subcommittee. All right. The next item on our agenda this evening is council items limited to council requests and directives for future meetings. Do I have any requests for items on future agendas? Not seeing anyone speak up, we will close that item. The next item is a closed session. The City Council will be going into closed session for a conference with legal counsel regarding existing litigation per Government Code Section 54956.9D1. And this is related to Clayton for Responsible Development versus the City of Clayton, Contra Costa Superior Court case number N20-0543. We will go into closed session now in a separate meeting. We will report out at this meeting when we are done. So council members, you need to leave this meeting and join the other one that was posted for us. So we are back from our closed session, and we want to report out that we received a report from our legal counsel, and there was no reportable action taken. With that, we are adjourned until our next regularly scheduled meeting. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank
I'm glad
you.
I came back for that. That was awesome.